Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica Marie Emlander and I am the indie author of 10 historical fiction novels, and I just love history. I love sharing history and I love learning and teaching about history. So I've been thinking a lot about farming recently. I am working on my own little garden of herbs and vegetables. Last weekend I spent a lot of time driving through some of West Michigan's more beautiful farmland, and a couple weekends ago I got to spend a lot of that weekend in Hudsonville, which was once known as Michigan's Salad Bowl, and it still might be. But it made me think a lot about how Michigan has long been a farming community. In the mid-1800s, it was determined that institutes of higher education that focused on teaching practical agriculture, science, military science, and engineering would be productive. This idea would also be in response to the Industrial Revolution and the changing social classes of the entire country. In 1850, the Michigan Constitution decided to create an agricultural school, and by 1857, the state opened the nation's first land-grant college for farmers. Let's learn more about it. The Michigan Agricultural College became a prototype for future land-grant institutions. When Michigan's Congress was making decisions on the creation of the school, the president of the University of Michigan's Henry Tappan attempted to convince the legislature to build the Agricultural College in Ann Arbor as a part of his university. The secretary of the Michigan State Agricultural Society, John C. Holmes, disagreed. Holmes argued that the young farmers would not get the attention that they needed and deserved in an already established university. On February 12, 1855, Michigan Governor Kinsley S. Bingham signed a bill establishing the nation's first agricultural college. It was initially known as the Agricultural College of the State of Michigan. Planning for the actual school began, and classes began on May 13, 1857. There were 3 main buildings with faculty members at the time, as well as 63 male students. The first president was Joseph R. Williams, who had actually graduated from Harvard. He became a self-made gentleman farmer and a very prominent Michigan attorney. Williams was passionate about higher education, especially for the young men who wanted to learn more about farming. The college hired several well-educated faculty members. These were men who had studied in East Coast schools, and many of them also had medical degrees. Though the original buildings were cramped, the faculty was able to develop laboratories with new and innovative equipment, such as microscopes. Williams and the faculty members worked together to build a curriculum that included science, liberal arts, and practical vocational courses. This was very different from most colleges at the time. Since the Michigan Agricultural College was the first of its kind, it used several medical schools as a guide. Unlike the majority of the colleges of the time, Williams did not include Latin and Greek classes in the curriculum, which was a relief to the young men from the country who had no prior knowledge of these languages. The college also required 3 hours of manual labor every day. This not only helped the students offset their expenses, it also helped the campus develop an infrastructure. It also helped students learn scientific principles through practical work and application. The school was off to a great start, but politics interfered, especially in the State Board of Education. In spite of the humble backgrounds of the students, as well as Williams pushing for higher education for all people, regardless of where they came from, the board believed that the college should be elitist and extravagant. Even some farmers began protesting against the college, as they believed that the college's strong scientific curriculum would educate their sons away from the farm. Some even called for the college to be abolished. Succumbing to public pressure, Williams resigned after just 2 years as president. The board reduced the curriculum to a 2-year program that was a very vocation-oriented farming program. This move resulted in a drastic reduction in enrollment almost overnight, and soon the school had severe financial problems. The entire existence of the school was now in question. Williams continued to work for the state of Michigan. He was elected to the Michigan legislature and rose to the rank of lieutenant governor. He never forgot about the Michigan Agricultural College. He helped pass the Reorganization Act of 1861, which mandated that the college have a 4-year curriculum, as well as the power to grant degrees comparable to those of the University of Michigan, such as master's degrees and, years later, doctoral degrees. Under the act, the new State Board of Agriculture took over from the State Board of Education in running the institution. They also adopted the more pronounceable name of State Agricultural College. SAC's first class graduated in 1861, which was the same year the Civil War broke out. Also in that year, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Land Grant Colleges Act. This would support colleges like Michigan's nationally and was the first instance of federal funding for education. In 1862, the board appointed Theophilus C. Abbott as the new president of the college. This soft-spoken man took charge and ran the school for 22 years. It was not an easy time to be president of the new college. Not only was there a war going on, but the Morrill Act brought much attention to the school, especially from the University of Michigan once again. Kind of kicked off a rivalry that still goes on today. The university brought a bill before the Michigan Congress to merge the two schools and move the Lansing facility to Ann Arbor. That would be almost unheard of today. The University of Michigan believed that it was necessary to share the Morrill Act income with their college, which was struggling at the time, presumably because of the war, not because of the actual college. There was support across the state for this merger, but those opposed pointed out that Ann Arbor didn't have adequate facilities, so moving there would be more expensive than any benefits it would bring. In 1863, the legislature voted down the university's proposal. It returned to the table to vote again a few times that century. This constant threat of a merger kept the legislature from approving any new money for campus improvements in Lansing, which left the college only one boarding hall and a limited capacity for enrollment. Since President Abbott couldn't expand the size of the college during the 1860s, he focused on what he could, the quality of the education he was providing. Abbott wanted to continue the version of former President Williams to focus on the whole student approach to higher education, and by the 1880s, the mixed liberal arts and practical curriculum included a botany professor who invented a better strain of the hybrid corn using cross-fertilization. This professor, William Beale, even corresponded with Charles Darwin and advocated for the laboratory teaching method. Beale conducted his classes in the first botanical laboratory building on an American campus. Another exemplary faculty member at the time was alumnus turned professor and father of American horticulture, Liberty Hyde Bailey. Bailey was the first person to raise the study of horticulture to a science that was considered equal to botany. Walter B. Barrows was a national respected ornithologist whose treatise, Michigan Bird Life, is widely considered the most comprehensive study of the subject. He joined the faculty during this time as well. Another notable faculty member was Rollo C. Carpenter, a building construction specialist, as well as a pioneering HVAC engineer. During the late 19th century, the college became very well respected in spite of its shortcomings, such as an isolated location, limited student housing, and small enrollment. Many graduates became esteemed in their careers, with many of those leading or teaching in other land-grant colleges across the country. Though the school continued to emphasize scientific agriculture, its graduates went into a wide variety of scientific professions. In 1878, President Abbott reported that State Agricultural College graduates showed that a love of knowledge had been infused into them by frequently returning to study or by resorting to other institutions of learning to continue their studies. Alumni went on to the University of Michigan, Cornell, Yale, Harvard, and even across the ocean to England, France, and Germany to continue their studies. Graduates included prominent early 20th century astrophysicist and associate of Albert Einstein, Charles E. St. John. It also included a famous muckraker journalist and Pulitzer Prize winner Ray Stannard Baker, and also pioneering education reformer William Chandler Bagley. The college continued growing in other ways, and in 1885, in order to fill out its mandate as a Morrill Act college, the college established a mechanics program, which became the college's first full-fledged degree-granting engineering program. In the 1870s, foreign students began coming to the United States just to attend the Michigan State Agricultural College. Two of these particular students from Japan included Michitaro Suda, who went on to become a member of the Japanese Emperor's Privy Council, and Minakata Kamugusu, a prominent Japanese environmental scientist. Michigan Agricultural College graduates of all kinds were making a difference worldwide. It's hard to talk about any college without at least mentioning a little bit about athletics, and the first football season was in 1884. The original nickname of the school was the Aggies. Though the college was successful, many Michigan farmers were still afraid that a college education would discourage their children from returning home to do the actual farming. The ever-innovative President Abbott helped win them over by holding Farmers Institute in rural communities across the state. The first of these was held in 1876, and school professors shared both experimental and practical information with Michigan farmers. Through the program, Abbott converted many doubtful farmers into enthusiastic college supporters. Installing different research stations across the state also helped build support. The college first admitted women in 1870, but the school's relative isolation and lack of women's living quarters hindered the co-educational enrollment for decades. The few women who enrolled were locals from Lansing who made the 3-mile trek by stagecoach over the unpaved roads. Out-of-town students could board with faculty families. The women learned the same scientific agricultural courses as men, with the exception of practical agriculture, but in 1896, the college became one of only 14 institutes of higher learning in America to adopt and meld a home economics curriculum within the liberal arts and sciences programs. This led to more females enrolling. They also relocated male students from the old Abbott Hall dormitory to allow for a greater number of women to enroll in the school. In 1899, State Agricultural College admitted its first African American student, William O. Thompson. After graduation, Thompson taught at what is now Tuskegee University, which had been founded and headed by Booker T. Washington. A few years later, Myrtle Craig became the first African American woman to enroll at the college. She graduated with the class of 1907 and received her degree from U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, who was the commencement speaker for the semi-centennial celebration of the college's opening. He also happens to be one of my favorite presidents. Thank you, Teddy, for the National Park System. The area around the college and Lansing itself continued to grow, and the city of East Lansing incorporated in 1907. 2 years later, the college officially changed its name to Michigan Agricultural College, or MAC. And by that time, there were many other agricultural colleges across the country, so this change felt necessary. Though the college had been around for over 50 years and was widely recognized as a leader of the land-grant colleges, some individuals within the state legislature opposed more expansion. Some believed that its agricultural college should not have engineering programs because these duplicated the University of Michigan's offerings. However, the Morrill Act had originally mandated that land-grant colleges teach engineering, or as it was known at the time, mechanic arts. MAC had developed civil and electrical engineering programs to complement the original mechanical program of 1885. Those who wanted MAC's agricultural program to be absorbed into the University of Michigan had another chance to bring their case to the legislature in 1916 when a fire destroyed MAC's engineering hall. Lansing automobile tycoon Ransom E. Olds, the Oldsmobile guy, solidified the program on the East Lansing campus with a gift of $100,000 in 1917 for a new engineering building to be built directly upon the foundations of the burned hall. This donation was the college's first significant private gift for a building, and they named the building Olds Hall. This building is still standing, but now houses MSU's University Relations Division, as well as classroom space. In 1914, the U.S. Congress added a third part to the land-grant college mission. In addition to education and research, the Smith-Lever Act provided federal funding for a system of state cooperative extension services. The new mandate resulted in MAC expanding its curriculum beyond agriculture and engineering, such as their liberal arts coursework. By 1925, the college had expanded to the extent where it petitioned the state of Michigan to remove the word agriculture from its name. There was again opposition, but as a compromise, the state government decided to call it the Michigan State College of Agriculture and Applied Science. In 1941, Secretary of the State Board of Agriculture, John A. Hanna, was appointed president of the college, and he began the largest expansion in the school's history. The growth was aided by the 1945 GI Bill, which helped World War II veterans fund post-secondary educations. While Hanna worked on increasing enrollment and building more residence halls for these students, he also raised the school's reputation from a regionally respected college to a nationally recognized research university. In the school's centennial year of 1955, the state of Michigan officially designated the school as a university. Michigan State College became Michigan State University of Agriculture and Applied Science. The state of Michigan did not allow the university to remove the agriculture part of their name until 1964. Since then, the school has been known simply as Michigan State University. Despite the word agriculture being dropped from the name, the university continues its tradition of being a leader in education and research of all agribusiness. So, as my alumnus brother always says, you can thank a Spartan for your dinner tonight. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. And finally, go green.